Welcome to Raaonline. Today we have a very interesting topic, the POCSO Act of 2012. So this is from your previous year DNB Emergency Medicine question, and moreover this has been asked in DNB Pediatrics as well. So it's not only for emergency medicine and pediatrics, any medical person has to know it, and any common citizen of India has to know about this act in detail. Okay, so this is one of the very important act. So POCSO Act for it. So this is Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. This is applicable to the whole of India. It is published in Official Gazette on 26/2012, and this act has been amended through the Criminal Law Amendment Act in February 2013. What is amendment? Amendment means updated or modified as per the latest situation. Okay, as per the Criminal Law Amendment Act in February 2013. So what is this POCSO Act of 2012? The POCSO Act 2012 initially defines a child as any person below the age of 18 years and protects them from any form of sexual abuse. Okay, not only protection from sexual abuse, even it intends to protect the child through all the stages of judicial process and gives paramount importance to the best interest of the child principle. Okay, whatever you do in this act is just for the interest of the child. The POSCO Act is actually gender neutral law, means the child could be a male or female and the offender also could be a male or female, and they are equally punishable under this POCSO Act. Okay. So what are the categories of sexual offences punishable under this POCSO? It is sexual assault, sexual harassment, and or using a child for pornography. What is this P, A? Understand, we have something called as sexual assault, and there is sexual assault, and we have something called as a penetrating sexual assault. Okay, if the sexual assault or a penetrating sexual assault is done by a specific team of persons who are in a higher responsible position or in a very sensitive circumstances, we call it as aggravated sexual assault or aggravated penetrative sexual assault. You got it? So we have sexual assault, penetrative sexual assault. Depend upon what is the circumstances and who the person doing is. It gets escalated, called as aggravated sexual assault or aggravated penetrative sexual assault. For example, a crime done inside a police station by a police officer or a doctor in the hospital, all these things comes under aggravated scenarios, right? We'll see all those things in detail. Okay, so P stands for penetrative and A stands for aggravated. For all academic purpose from now on, sexual assault will be called as SA. Penetrative sexual assault will be called as PSA, aggravated sexual assault will be called as ASA, and aggravated penetrative sexual assault will be called as APSA. Okay, from now on in our slides. So next is going to be the sexual harassment and using a child for pornography. So number one is sexual assault. Any act done with sexual intent on a child involving physical contact is called sexual assault. Touching the private part of a child with sexual intent. If a person with sexual intent makes a child touch the private part of another person, also comes under sexual assault. Okay. Usually sexual assault does not involve penetration. So punishment of sexual assault is minimum 3 to 5 years imprisonment with fine. Now, the penetrative sexual assault. It is a more serious offence than the sexual assault itself. It involves any person penetrating any object or any part of the body into the vagina, mouth, anus or urethra of a child, or makes a child to do so with him or any other person, or applying one's mouth into the vagina, mouth, anus or urethra of the child, or makes a child to do so with him or any other person. This comes under penetrative sexual assault. Punishment for penetrative sexual assault is minimum 7 years imprisonment, which can extend up to the life imprisonment with fine. Okay, so understand, penetrative sexual assault, not all penetrative sexual assault accounts to rape. Okay, a rape is different, penetrative sexual assault is different. Okay, meaning penetrative sexual assault, the penetrative sexual assault in the sense that any foreign body also or person or the penis or something, if it's penetrating into the child, either in the mouth or in the vagina, everything can be taken into penetrative sexual assault. Okay, but only where a man can commit a rape over the female child, right? and it is only the male organ getting penetrating into the vagina. It's called as a rape. So a rape comes under PSA, but not all PSA accounts to rape. Okay. So if it's especially rape, the punishment is going to be a little more severe. Okay. So if it is a rape, it comes under IPC, and there is 10 years of imprisonment. So hope you got the concepts clear, right? So penetrative sexual assault, meaning let it be any object, also comes under PSA. Okay, any object also comes under PSA. Object or any part of the body comes under PSA. But if you tell a rape, it's specifically the male part, the penis getting penetrated into the vagina. That is the only thing called as a rape. So rape comes under PSA, but not all PSA is under rape. Okay. So for PSA, penetrative sexual assault, minimum 7 years imprisonment. If it's a rape, then it can account around 10 years as per the IPC. Okay. Maximum, it can extend up to life imprisonment with fine. So now coming to the aggravated sexual assault or aggravated penetrative sexual assault. So now you know what is sexual assault, right? And you know what is penetrative sexual assault. So now we are adding the letter A, aggravated. It's basically depends upon the person who is doing and in what circumstances. Okay. It is considered more serious and the punishment is much greater. So what is it? We use the word aggravated or more serious because the offence is committed by a police officer or a member of the armed force or security personnel, a public servant like IAS officers, IPS officer, or any public division at all, or a person on a management or staff of a jail, of a remand home, of a protection home, or any other place of custody or care. Or the offence is done by a person in the management or staff of any hospital, let it be private or government. Understand, it is not only for government, even for private sectors. On a child in that hospital, by a person in the management or staff of an educational institution or religious institution on a child in that institution. Maybe a school, maybe a college, or any other educational or religious institution like a temple, church, mosque, anything will be. Or it is considered to be an aggravated scenario when it's a gang rape or a gang sexual assault or gang penetrative sexual assault on a child. Or the offence is committed using dangerous weapon, causing physical harm to the child or trying to kill the child in this offence. Okay. So it's considered to be aggravated if the offence committed causes a child to become physically or mentally disabled or inflicts the child with HIV or any other life-threatening diseases or infection. Okay. It is considered to be aggravated when the offence is committed on the child with physical or mental disability. For example, the child is already in a physical or mental disability state. If you commit a crime on that particular child, then it is also considered as aggravated. Repeated sexual assault or repeated penetrative sexual assault on a child is considered to be aggravated. Or if the offence is committed on a child less than 12 years of age, it's considered to be aggravated. The offence is committed by a relative or any person living in the same or shared household with the child. It also comes under aggravated scenarios. Or the offence is committed by a owner or someone on the management or staff in institution providing any type of services to the child. Let it be a laundry service, let it be a food and beverage service, let it be a wash services, any particular service providers. If any crime is done, sexual crime is done by those team, then it's also taken as aggravated scenarios. It's also considered aggravated if the offence is committed by a person in a position of trust or any authority. Okay. It is considered to be aggravated if the offence is committed on a pregnant child. Okay. There are scenarios where a female can get pregnant in less than 18 years of age at all itself. So, if a crime is done against those pregnant child, a sexual crime is done against those pregnant child, it's considered to be aggravated crime. Okay. So, offence committed in course of communal or sectarian violence or riots, offence committed by a repeat offender, that is, a person who has already been convicted of an offence under this POCSO, or not only POCSO, of any sexual offence under any other law, he has committed a crime again, then it comes under aggravated scenarios. Okay. Committing a sexual assault or penetrative sexual assault on a child and then making the child strip walk naked in the public comes under aggravated sexual crime. Okay. So basically, if you see the sexual assault and penetrative sexual assault, it's an act basically, right? It's a crime act. But if you see that aggravated, the term aggravated comes not by just the act, it's by the person who is doing, by the professional who is doing, by the team who is doing, and the scenario in which it is done. Okay, people with more responsibility, or basically who are service providers, they all come under this kind of category. Okay. So, what are the punishment for aggravated sexual assault and aggravated penetrative sexual assault? Okay. So, for aggravated sexual assault, minimum is 5 years, and it can go maximum up to 7 years of imprisonment with fine. Okay. So, understand, even if you touch the child in a sexual intent, then you can get jail for minimum 3 years. Then if it's aggravated scenario, you can go for minimum of 5 years. It can go as high as 7 years of imprisonment. Okay. So, aggravated penetrative sexual assault, minimum of 10 years with rigorous imprisonment, which can even extend to life imprisonment with fine. Okay. So, what is the meaning of this kind of enhanced punishment? Why this kind of aggravation is there? What is the meaning of this aggravation actually? So, the punishment has been increased in case of a rape. Okay. Understand, I already explained you that penetrative sexual assault slightly is different from rape. Okay. All rape can come under penetrative sexual assault, but not all sexual penetrative insult is accounts to rape. Okay. Using of an object for penetration is also comes under penetrative sexual assault, but it doesn't comes under rape. Okay. Rape is a different category at all, and we have different IPC sections for it. The punishment has been increased in case of rape under IPC. So, since that has been increased, even if he is convicted in POCSO, this particular law, this particular punishment can be put on him. Okay. The punishment has been increased in case of rape under the IPC, and higher punishment will apply even in offences under POCSO. Okay. So, the higher punishment is as follows as far as the IPC is concerned. For penetrative sexual assault on a girl child by a man, the punishment is minimum of 10 years of imprisonment, which may extend to life imprisonment with fine. Okay. So, usually what is the meaning of life imprisonment? It's around 14 years. Okay. The government can take a call at the end of 14 years to maybe release him or not. That's about life imprisonment. But if it's an aggravated scenario, 10 years of imprisonment, it also life imprisonment till he dies. Okay. So, this life imprisonment meaning punishment till the remainder of patient's natural life. Okay. So, this is called as life imprisonment till natural death. This is called as life imprisonment till natural death. Okay. So, this is again the second scenario. This is the first scenario where the penetrative sexual assault on a girl child by a man, the punishment is minimum 10 years. This is the first scenario. If it's going to be in the aggravated circumstances, it goes up to life imprisonment till the patient dies. Okay. This is the second scenario. Okay. Third, if at all such an act, the penetrative sexual assault is done on a girl child in less than 16 years of age. That's a third scenario. Less than 16 years of age, the punishment is even more severe with 20 years of imprisonment. It can extend up to life imprisonment plus fine. Okay. Again, this life imprisonment is till natural death. Till natural death. This is the third scenario. So, life imprisonment means punishment till the remainder of the person's natural life. And moreover, the fine, whatever is imposed, must be reasonable to meet the medical and rehabilitation expenses of the victim and must be paid to the victim. Okay. Very important statement by law. Okay. This is the third scenario. Fourth scenario, we have seen less than 16 years, right? If it's less than 12 years of age, a PSA on a girl child less than 12 years of age, the man can get punishment up to 20 years, again, which can increase up to life sentence or even death sentence. Okay. Understand the word death. Slowly the punishment is getting increased, right? Initially it is only till 14 years, then it is imprisonment till his natural death. Then for PSA less than 12 years, even a death sentence can be imposed. Okay. Otherwise, any form of life imprisonment here also means the punishment till the remainder of person's natural life. Okay. Again, the fine imposed here also must be reasonable to meet the medical and rehabilitation expenses of the victim and must be paid to the victim. So, this is scenario 4 and here is a scenario 5. For PSA on a girl child by a man which inflicts an injury to the child which causes death or cause a woman to be in a vegetative state, the punishment will be minimum imprisonment of period of 20 years, which can extend to even life imprisonment or death. Okay. Even if you cause an injury, it is also taken as very seriously. Again, the same is true for the gang rape. The punishment is almost the same, a term of 20 years, which can extend for life. N stands for extension for life imprisonment till the natural death. That is what this N stands for. Again, plus fine. Okay. And again, the gang rape of a child less than 16 years of age. Okay, again, you can go for life imprisonment with fine. Life imprisonment meaning till natural death. And if it's less than 12 years of age, gang rape of a child less than 12 years of age, again, life imprisonment till natural death plus fine plus maybe you'll be called for a death sentence also. Okay. So, life imprisonment till the remainder of a person's life. Understand, when a person is given a punishment of imprisonment for life in other cases, usually after 14 years of prison, the government may release the convict saying he has completed his term of punishment. But in cases where the law specifically says the punishment is for the natural life, okay, imprisonment for natural life, then the person cannot be released after 14 years and he will have to remain in prison till he die. Okay. Now coming to the sexual harassment. A person is said to commit sexual harassment upon a child when such a person with sexual intent utters any words or makes any sound to be heard by the child, or makes any gesture with sexual intent, or exhibits any object or part of the body so as to be seen by the child, makes the child exhibit his or her body, shows anything to the child for pornographic purposes, repeatedly or constantly follows or watches or contacts the child either directly or through electronic or other media with sexual intent. So, here as far as sexual harassment is concerned, the word sexual intent is very important. Okay. A mother taking the child for a regular bath, this cannot be considered sexual harassment, right? So, those things has to be done with a sexual intent, only then it can be called as sexual harassment. Or he threatens to use in any media a real or fake depiction of any part of the body of a child or involvement of the child in sexual act. Understand, in this era where we have a lot of online platforms which is accessible through our mobile, a lot of threat to the young population, right? So, the younger population has to know that if anyone threatens you, even with a fake depiction, understand this word very clearly, even with a fake depiction, you can complain to the police and it can be taken seriously as per the POCSO Act is concerned. And encourages, it takes the child for pornographic purposes also accounts for a crime in POCSO. Okay. So, what is the punishment for sexual harassment? Imprisonment up to 3 years with fine. Okay. Now, the third category, using the child for pornography. Using a child in any form of media, that is television channels, internet, or anything, for the purpose of sexual gratification amounts to the offence of using a child for pornography. Okay. It does not matter whether this is done for personal use or for public intent. Okay. So, if it is done, it's a crime. So, the meaning of sexual gratification is, or gratification is, showing the sexual organs of a child, using a child in real or simulated sexual acts with or without penetrative sexual assault, showing a child in an indecent or obscene way. Okay, all these things accounts to sexual gratification. If it is done, it comes under POCSO Act. So, what is the punishment? The punishment for using a child for such a pornographic content is imprisonment up to 5 years. Okay, with fine. If the offence is repeated again, the term can increase to next another 7 years. Okay. Remember, storing for commercial purpose any pornographic material involving a child is punishable with imprisonment which may extend to 3 years with fine. Okay. Even if you download a content online and if you store that in your mobile, then you are punishable under this POCSO Act. Understand this. Okay. Storing of for commercial purpose any pornographic material involving a child is punishable with imprisonment which may extend up to 3 years with fine. Okay. And mandatory reporting of the offence. Any person can report an offence under POCSO. Okay. Any person can report it. An offence can be reported after it has occurred or even before it has occurred. Very, very important statement. Very important statement. Remember this. Okay. You need not prove that the event has occurred. Okay. For the best interest of the child, you can even report it even before it is occurring, right? For the fear of such a crime to occur, right? An offence can be reported after it has occurred or even before it has occurred if there is fear such a crime may occur, okay? The child facing or fearing such an abuse can also report the crime directly to the police, okay? So, what is important is it must be reported. That's all we want. It must be reported. There is no place it can be forgiven. There is no place it can be forgotten, right? If a person fails to report an offence under POCSO, for example, you as a doctor, you come across such an abuse, okay, and you fail to report it to a concerned authority, then you will be imprisoned up to 6 months or with a fine, okay. Understand, as a doctor, it's your responsibility. Not only as a doctor, as a citizen of India, it's your responsibility. And this statement is for every citizen. Okay. If you fail to report a particular thing, a particular event or an abuse or a suspected abuse or even expected abuse, if you fail to report and if you fail to save a child, then you can be imprisoned for up to 6 months or with a fine. Understand this. If a person is in charge of an institute, for example, you are the dean of a hospital or you are the owner of the hospital, you are a CEO of a particular institution, or like you are a professor there, and you fail to report an offence under POCSO, committed by a subordinate. Okay, you are the principal of a school and your teacher or subordinate had done something which comes under the POCSO, like someone whom the person has a professional control. The person or the dean, the particular principal, can be punished with imprisonment up to 1 year or with fine. Okay, there is no point you can take it easily. So even if your subordinate does something, it's your duty to report it to the concerned authority. Okay. This duty also extends to people working in any media, hotel, lodge, hospital, club, studio, or any organization of that point. Okay. If you are having a professional control over your subordinate, then it is your duty to inform the police. Okay. If they come across anything that is sexually exploitative to the child in any way, for example, a pornographic material, obscene representation of the child, etc., they must report to the special juvenile police unit or even to the local police. Okay. And understand, if you don't report it, you will be punished, right? It is not necessary for the child to report a crime. For example, if a child has failed to inform the police, the child will not be punished because the child has not informed. You got the point? There are scenarios where a 14-year-old girl was sexually abused for years, okay? But because of fear, because of lack of knowledge and lack of boldness, she has not reported it anywhere, right? So she cannot be taken as guilt because she has not informed. So that is a point to be noted here. Now coming to the false cases. Any person who makes a false complaint or gives false information regarding an offence under POCSO can be imprisoned up to 6 months or fined. Okay, all these law is very, very, very strict law. Okay, these are made strict just for the benefit of the child. But if someone intends to use this in a fake way, in a false way, then the law is going to be even more stricter on you. Okay, it's going to be 6 months of imprisonment with a fine. If such false complaint or false information is given against a child, you're telling about a child, then the punishment can go up to 1 year of imprisonment. Understand this. Okay. So if a false complaint or false information is provided by the child himself or herself, that child cannot be punishment under the law. Understand. So any child, if they feel unsafe, they can call the police. Okay. If the police comes there and just sees, or in their investigation, it turns to be that the child is just frightened or the child is just afraid of the situation. But if the police feels the situation is calm, the child cannot be punished. Okay. If it's a false complaint given by the child, it is taken that the child would have not understood the situation properly. Okay. A false complaint from the child cannot be punished. But a false complaint from anybody else, the imprisonment up to 6 months. If there's a complaint against the child and if it's turned to be false, then you can go up to 1 year of imprisonment. Confidentiality, very, very, very important. Okay. No one should make any report or any comments on any child in any form of media without the full and accurate information. Without the full and accurate information. You can't guess and you can't put out a hearsay information. Okay. If such report comments have an effect of lowering the child's reputation or invading the child's privacy. Okay. So only if you know the complete content or accurate information, only then you are said to be okay in publishing this for the benefit of the society, for the benefit of education purpose, for the benefit of saving other children. Even then, the identity of the child should not be revealed. Okay, you got the point correctly? Okay, confidentiality means nobody should report anything just as if they have here, right? You have to know the full content, the accurate information. Only then you can put it for the general public content. Okay, even if you putting for the general public content, the intention is not to lower the child's reputation or invading the child's privacy. Okay, you cannot reveal the child's identity. It is basically put out to the content for the general population, basically for one intention, just for educating them. Okay, so there also can be no media reports revealing the identity of the child. Thus, there can be no showing of child's photograph, mentioning the child's name or address, family details, school, neighborhood, or any other detail that can lead to the identity of the child. Okay, understand, even the school's name should not be said in public. Okay, you can just tell so and so, some form of school, some form of private or government institutions in this area. That's more than enough. Okay, let us not reveal the identity, because these child are mentally sick. Okay, they would have underwent so much of trauma. Okay, creating more trauma is not going to be a proper way, right? So this is extremely important. The government is going to take it very seriously. Okay, violation of this can lead to imprisonment of between 6 months to 1 year in jail. Okay, it so happened that a team of boys, college boys, were on a trek. Okay, were on basically a trip like sort of thing, and they heard a shouting, a screaming voice of a child. Okay, when they went there over the bushes, there was an offense, and because these boys saved that child, basically saved that female child. Okay, and they reported to the police, and the police came to custody of that particular child, and the child was given all the benefits. The child was given all the medical care, and the child was completely saved. But the point is, these boys who went and saved the child, they also had a video of how they saved the child, how the police came, what all happened. And because of current era, they have published this video online, revealing the identity of the child, not the crime, but the identity of the child was revealed. For that reason, those boys were imprisoned for 1 year. So you got the point? So you cannot just like that showcase things outside, right? Reporting the offense to the police. If a sexual offense has occurred or might occur against a child, any person, including the child, can report this to the Special Juvenile Police Unit or the local police. If the child requires treatment or care and protection, the Special Juvenile Police Unit or the local police must take the child to the hospital or shelter home within 24 hours of the report. Okay, and they must also inform the Child Welfare Committee and the Special Court. Recording the statement of the child. When an offence under POCSO is reported, the child's account of the event, there is a child's statement, whatever the child want to say, should be recorded by the magistrate or the police officer in the words of the child, the own words of the child, or as spoken by the child. Okay, the statement should be recorded in the presence of parents of the child or in the presence of any other person whom the child completely trusts. Okay, the statement should preferably be recorded by a woman police officer and possibly may not be in uniform also. Okay, it's better if the statement is taken in the child's house or in some place where the child is comfortable. Okay, please understand, this child will be in extreme mental trauma, mental and even physical trauma, and take utmost care that you don't go frighten the child. Okay, where necessary, the help of a translator or interpreter should be taken so that there is no gap in communication. If a child has physical or mental disability that needs for assistance in communication, the help of a special educator, the child may not be able to speak or may not be able to hear. The child could be even blind. Okay, so you need a special communicator for that, an expert communicator for that. You can even take the help of such an expert communicator there. The child should be made to feel as comfortable as possible. This is the first priority. This is the first and foremost priority. When you get a report, or when you as a citizen of India, you come to know that a child is unsafe, the first thing to do is to make the child very comfortable. Okay, report to the police officers, make the child comfortable, save the child. The law will save you. Okay, to the extent possible, the statement of the child should be recorded by audio, visual, electronic means. Medical examination of the child. The child will also be medically examined. This should be done as soon as the very first instance it comes to light. Okay, for example, a child is brought to you and this is a complaint, you have to go for a medical examination even without waiting for formal recording of complaint or FIR. FIR is not required. Okay, a formal complaint is not required. If you come to know that the child has faced such a trauma, such a sexual assault, sexual harassment, then you need to start your medical examination at that point of time. There's zero time. Okay, the girl children should be examined only by a woman doctor. Very, very important. The medical examination of any child should be done only in the presence of parents of the child or in the presence of some other person whom the child can trust in. Okay, if the parents or such trusted person cannot be found, the hospital should ensure that some woman is present at the examination site. Okay, so you and me, the doctors there, any staffs, you and me are the parents of the child at that point of time. You got the point? Try your best to get the parents on board, or try your best to get the particular trusted person on board. If you don't find anyone, then you and me are the parents of the child. Understand this. You are the most trusted person in the society and you need to take a call. Inform your management, inform your higher authorities and proceed with medical examination. Do not stop medical examination there. Trial of cases. For speedy justice and to avoid the re-victimization of the child. Very, very important word. Very important word. If you delay a justice for this kind of people, the victim can go for re-victimization, right? For speedy justice and to avoid the re-victimization of a child, cases are to be tried in special courts with special public prosecutors, okay? And the trial must be done in camera, that is in private, and not an open court where the public can view the proceedings, okay? Here, the public cannot view the proceedings and without revealing the identity of the child, okay? Even the doors of the court will be closed. Once the victim goes inside, the doors of the court will be closed and it will be held only in camera, okay? The special court must be child friendly. The court may take the assistance of a translator, interpreter in recording the statement of the child. If the child has a mental or physical disability, the special court may take assistance of a special educator or any person familiar with that kind of manner of communication or an expert in the field. If a penetrative sexual assault or aggressive penetrative sexual assault or aggressive penetrative sexual assault in accounting to a rape, all these things, the court will presume that the accused is guilty, okay? So, it is at that accused person to prove his innocence, okay? So, whenever such a complaint is imposed, the court believes that that particular person is guilty, okay? It is up to that person to prove that he is not guilty, okay? So, there are a lot of understanding about this statement, okay? Because there are certain situations where even false cases were put on certain people and they were given a life imprisonment or a 14 years imprisonment or a 10 years imprisonment and stuff. And very late, like after 8 years, it has been proved wrong, okay? So, there are people who are suffering. I'm not saying no for it. There are certain instances. I'm not saying in India, internationally, there are certain situations where this false complaint matters. But if you see on a large, this kind of act is basically to prevent the child, right? So, there are more and more amendments, not only to save the child, but also to save this kind of falsely accused people, okay? It is not only the child who is in trauma, right? If a person is falsely complained, if a person is falsely accused of such a crime, even that particular person's life is put under toss, right? If it's on a false side, then it's going to be very pitiful, right? So, cases under POCSO must be disposed within 1 year from the date of offence, okay? Very important statement. So, these are the words which you need to write in an examination as well. Apart from punishment of the preparator, the special court can give directions to payment of compensation of the child, okay? So, now coming back to the summary. So, now you know what is this POCSO rule, okay? Prevention of child against sexual offence, okay, in 2012. And you know what is the definition of the child, that is less than 18 years, and it gets more severe when it's less than 16 years, even more severe when it gets less than 12 years, okay? This is a definition. And as far as this POCSO is concerned, it is actually gender neutral. But when rape is concerned, it is more likely a male or a female, okay? So, this POCSO has 3 different things. One is the sexual assault, sexual harassment, and using the child for pornography. And this sexual assault can be penetrative sexual assault, okay? And you can add an aggravative based upon the circumstances, aggressive sexual assault or aggressive penetrative sexual assault, okay? Aggressive penetrative sexual assault. And you know when to report, okay? The event may not have occurred. If there is a chance such an event can occur, then also you have to report it to the concerned authority, understand? And if you don't report, it means that you are helping the crime, okay? If you don't report, you are going to helping the crime. So, you need to report it at the earliest. And medical examination, it has to be done at the 0 hour itself. How to do a medical examination? What are the people who are necessary for a medical examination? Do you really require a FIR? Do you really require a police personnel with you? Answer is completely no, right? Medical help should not be delayed, okay? And how to handle the false cases, and what is the punishment if you give the false cases, and what is the punishment if you give false case on a child, and what is the take of a government if a child gives a false statement. All these things you need to know, okay? Trial of cases, okay? How to do a trial of cases, how is the difference between other cases and this POCSO Act, all this is required. Then you need to know what is the punishment for sexual assault, okay, and penetrative sexual assault. What is the difference between penetrative sexual assault with rape as far as IPC is concerned, okay? You need to know what is aggravated sexual assault. You need to know what is the punishment of aggravated penetrative sexual assault, and you need to know what is the punishment for less than 18 years, if it's done over less than 16 years, if it's done less than 12 years, if it's done over a pregnant female, if it's done by a gang, if it's done by a more people in a more responsible area. So all these things comes under POCSO Act. Okay. So India has zero tolerance like any other country in the world. So let's stop it at any cost. Thank you.